Welcome to High Five. Seem really reserved today, actually, my high fives. High five! We're joined by Sally Bryce. Give me a high five to kick off. Nice to see you. It's kind of Friday because we kind of cheat and record these during the week.
I told you never to admit that, Scott. It's always
quite nice to think it's Friday today as well. I like that.
Happy Friday, everyone. What are you doing this weekend? Sally, it's so nice to see you. Thank you for joining us on this fine evening, whatever day of the week it actually is. How you doing?
That's no problem.
Hi, Sally.
Hello.
How's things? How are you?
I'm very well, thanks. Yeah, not too bad for a Friday. Yeah, all good.
Right. So you got a little nomination via a little LinkedIn message or a little LinkedIn post a few weeks ago from one Jimmy Farrell, Johnny Stokes.
Johnny Stokes.
This guy.
It's very lovely.
And I thought I would kick off our high five. Just a little reminder, if nobody's watched High Five before, we talk about the last 5 days of learning inspired by one little cognitized card. But I thought the way that James described you was so elegant and was so beautiful that I thought if anyone describes me close to these words, I'd be deeply proud. So he said you had a really high value about lifting people, about taking a higher space, and about helping people to find the best in themselves, and that helpful mindset of inspiring others through kindness. And if you have watched any high fives before, you'll know that kindness is something that I just think is one of the most important values that you can have in the way in which you work. So I thought we'd kick off with just asking you to tell us a wee bit about how you felt when you got that nomination for James.
Well, I think, like you said, I was really, really touched. Like I say, I've known James for a long time, so he knows a lot about me. And he does know that I absolutely do love helping others, developing people, and, similarly, kindness, is something I think, particularly as I've got older, and particularly as we've been through the pandemic, that, I want to try and do more about. But you don't realise maybe just how much you have impact till you hear somebody else sort of describing you. So yeah, I was sort of blown away, and yeah, it was lovely. It was really, really nice. Yeah.
Nice way to be described. Yeah. Just, I'm looking for a card here to tell you a very quick story, actually. So
go on.
It's connected to kindness. This little card here.
Okay.
It's called Tag You're It.
Yeah.
So it's all about playing random act of kindness tag.
Yeah.
People you could tag forward by doing a kind act. And this lady always gets a mention every high five call, by the way, so it's obligatory that I mention her as part of this card. I was sitting here in my office and I had a conversation with a lady called Joanna Servana.
Right.
We were talking about random acts of kindness, and we were saying, well, what's the biggest tag we could basically do? And I said to her, why don't we have a festival of kindness? Hold it online. I was running a virtual space with my friend Kirsty at the time on Remo. And from the point of actually having that conversation, it just shows to you the power of followership within kindness, that it takes somebody to take what you think's a pretty out there idea and go, yeah, let's do it. So she said to me, yeah, let's do it. And I went, yeah, well, we could maybe think she's no maybe in it. Let's do it. Let's go and do it. So we put a date in the diary 6 weeks down the line. And we had a poster created. You'll love the posters in your Instagram work, but we created this poster. We had it up online by the following morning. By the Friday, we had sold 12 tickets. By the Monday, we sold 25. And by the end of the first week, we'd raised £1,500 for 2 charities. 6 weeks later, we had 110 people in a virtual space. I made cakes for Sophie Ellis-Bextor. She volunteered a song for us as well, and did a little video for us, and recorded a private message for everyone that attended it. We had 110 people attend it. And
I've loved her kitchen discos over the
she did.
Yeah, that's what it was.
Songs. It was just fabulous. So as I said already, kindness for me travels so far, as does a lot of the stuff that you've mentioned in that very short introduction that James gave you as well. So
yeah, and I think just on that kindness theme, one of the things that I've really found over the last few months through doing Sally Inspo is you you don't realize how much of an impact you can have. So, you know, some of the things, and the reason that I suppose that, so it started out of an idea last year. So it was mainly sort of, I suppose initially to get myself through lockdown, but part of the reason I sort of started Sally Inspo was because I wanted to try and do something positive. And last year I was thinking, you know, how can I help myself sort of get through this period of time, and what can I focus on? And it started with being grateful and thinking every day, you know, maybe I could put a post out there just talking about sort of what's going on for me and sharing some of that, which is what I did. And what was really interesting, because I'm also not somebody that feels comfortable to share a lot about myself on social media. So I use Instagram as a bit of a digital diary so that I can look back over the year and see what's happened. But like I say, through lockdown, I thought, well, maybe I have a focus around gratitude and that will help me to be more focused. And I ended up sort of revealing, I suppose, inadvertently a little bit about myself as I was going through. But I was really amazed about how much that struck a chord with other people, and how many people sort of got in touch and sort of said, you know, actually just by you being like that and being open and sharing some of your experiences, actually that's really helped me, you know, think about how I can get through. So sometimes you don't even know sort of little acts, well, I don't know if you describe that as an act of kindness, but sometimes you don't know the ripple effect of what you're doing and the impact it can have on, you know, lots of people around you.
Yeah.
I think it was, as you said, Sally, it was, we caught ourselves in the time of the pandemic where positivity just seemed to permeate itself into our way of life in a way that it really didn't for the last 5-10 years before that. And I think that was because people were looking to be kinder to each other. Captain Tom certainly had a massive impact on everything that we were looking at in the UK, and actually I think globally as well. And as Scott saying with Kindfest, that kind of just grew legs of its own and started to permeate itself into everyday life. And thinking back to something you said even in the introduction about the way we've all integrated Zoom into our lives, you know, previous to this, we probably would have taken agile teams and scrum teams to figure out, could we do Zoom calls and would they work and would they come together? But actually we just do it now. And it's the same with kindness. People are just kinder to each other. There's a more gentle element of humanity that we see. But I think it's a wonderful thing. And if it continues over the next course of 5-10 years, that's probably the best thing to come out of the pandemic time.
Yeah, I think people underestimate as well just how powerful little things can be. I know, Scott, you talked about sort of leaving money in a machine, but it could be also just smiling at somebody and saying hello. You know, for some people that might be, you know, again, in the pandemic, you know, I've walked a lot. You could walk past somebody, they might not have had a conversation with anybody that day, and you just taking the time to smile or say hello could have a big impact. And I think people think that sometimes kindness has got to be big gestures or you know, big things or spending lots of money. And actually, you know, usually from my experience, it's actually the little things that touch people and, you know, have a big impact on their lives. And I think if you just do one thing, I am a really big believer that there is typically some kind of ripple effect. You might not always know about it or get the feedback about it, but actually, you know, kindness, you know, tends to breed kindness. So what a great thing to do.
I mean, you'll probably see it with your Sally Inspo account, but when you stand back and you watch all those people then integrating with each other who have had a nudge from that one thing that everyone else has done, it's quite a powerful visualization you actually get of how all those points create new ripples and new conversations and going in different directions. It's somebody said to me a few months ago about they were writing a book about something, and I think Rory's been nagging me about this for absolutely years about writing a book about something. I said, look, do you know what? I would love to see actually all the things that have been inspired by one thing that you've done.
Yeah.
Interesting new thing for me to hear, whether I wouldn't be certainly in the form of a book, but I just love that knowing what people have done by one small thing that you've created or crafted is something that's quite a wonderful gift to see what happens. Because you don't always get to see that, but
no, you don't. And I know for myself, you know, when I was like I said, when I was writing the the grateful posts initially before it sort of morphed into Sally Inspo, I just remember thinking, like, you know, is anybody reading this? And actually, you know, will I sound stupid, or, you know, should I be that open? And like I say, you know, you don't always know, because sometimes people will read things and think, oh, that's lovely, or that's really helped me, but they don't always tell you. So it was nice when I did hear a couple of comments about people saying, actually, Sally, I felt like that, and I've looked forward to your posts every day, and I look to see if you put something on. It is nice if you can get that, but sometimes you don't. And I suppose for me, it's still putting stuff out there, knowing I won't always get, you know, some kind of, you know, comeback on it or feedback on it. I just have to trust that these things just, you know, do have positive impacts. But also linked to what you said, I think what I've also really liked is sometimes I put comments, or my friends have, but then people I know that don't know each other have commented on each other's, you know, come on, Jane, or, you know, come on, Sharon, you can do it. You know, that, I think that's really lovely as well, that you sort of create all these little connections.
It dispels a myth that you can't have a community online. It has to be face-to-face, because you see so many brilliant communities being formed in a virtual space. For, as I said earlier, I've made some of the best friends I think I've got for life that I've never met in the last 12 months. I've never met any of them. The puzzle that we keep coming back to in these high five chats is I've got no clue what height someone is. I'll just get, I think it's going to be awkward the first time. I kind of want it just to be like a, hello, it's lovely. I just know it's going to be like, right, and it's going to be quite awkward because I'm going to be, oh, look at them. They look totally different in the flesh from...
Well, there probably will be some of that, but I think how lovely that you have created, you know, relationships that feel really strong, and you've managed to get a connection, even if it is sort of, you know, via digital. That's fabulous.
I would say it has been as well. So James gave you a card last week. He gave you the Be a Rainbow card. I love the quote on this is just beautiful as well, by Maya Angelou. I mean, if you don't love that quote, you're dead inside to me. Actually, it's just one of the beautiful quotes. Be a rainbow in someone else's cloud. I just think it's magical. But what does that card, or what does that rainbow element mean to you? What did it inspire in you when you saw that post and that card nominated for you?
In terms of what did it make me think about? Or well, I think it's a wonderful thing to be said about you, you know, to be a rainbow in somebody's life. I think what I try and do through Sally Inspo is, you know, my aim with that is to try and help people to be at their best. So, you know, there's lots of different ways that you can do that, whether that's about, you know, giving people tips and advice around mindfulness, whether that's about getting people moving, whether that's about people, you know, doing more kind acts. I think, you know, being a rainbow in someone's life is giving them tools and tips and prods and advice that will help them to be at their best. That's for me, you know, what that card made me think about, and also what I am trying to do, you know, with what Sally Inspo is, because I'm not necessarily selling anything. It's not a business, you know, there's no sales revenue behind it. It is purely motivated by, you know, trying to spread that, and if possible, like I talked about, encouraging other people that are part of that community to share with each other as well, because I don't know all the answers, or, you know, I haven't got all the tips and advice, but if I can maybe create a context and a way for people to feel comfortable to do that, that's really, you know, what I'm trying to do with it. So, you know, it's weird thinking of yourself as a rainbow in someone's life, but if that is a lovely way to describe what I'd really like to be, my legacy to be, or, you know, I think as well, I was thinking about this, you know, like, why do I want to do more of this stuff? And I don't know if it's because I'm getting to an age where I haven't had children, and you know, think about what is going to be my legacy, and, you know, what's going to be something that I'd like to be remembered for. And I think, having worked in development for so long, I know my partner says, you know, I think sometimes, Sally, you take for granted all the kind of tools and techniques you've got at your disposal. And actually, there's so many people that could benefit that don't think about those kind of things on a daily basis. There was one of the tips and advice that I put out around Covey's circle of influence and concern, which is something I've used in programs, you know, in and out over the years for a long time. And that's something to me that's just sort of second nature, and I don't really think about it. And then you talk through it with somebody and they go, God, that's amazing. I've never thought of it like that. And yeah, I'm spending too much time. I need to spend my time more in sort of what I can influence and what I can do. And I'm like, God, wow, that, you know, that really lands with somebody. And I think if I've got all of this and I could share it and people could benefit for no other reason than it's just a good thing to do. And they might then tell someone else who might, that is that is all that it's about.
You do take for granted some of the knowledge you've acquired through that. I used to draw Covey's circle of influence as a fried egg, by the way, when I did it.
Did you?
Two different size yolks and asked them what yolk they preferred, and then explain the principle based on the egg yolks, just to have a laugh with it when I was doing it. I think I was just trying
to make it memorable.
Yeah, I always remember in day 2 when I was trying to do it. Right, what do you remember? If I say the word eggs, what do you think about? Oh, circles of influence. I've got it.
Well, you probably find that as well. There's so many things at your disposal that you've been experiencing the last, you know, however many years. That are just part of what you do, and you don't always realise just how powerful and useful they are to people.
I mean, I found that when I was designing these cards. I got stuck about 32, around about 31, 32, and I was trying to do 52 cards, and I was like, I don't want to minimise the quality of what I'm trying to do. I don't want to just go, I could do another 4 cards on this and it'll be fine. And I didn't want any deviation either. But I also didn't want to breach any copyright of any models or principles. It was all, well, what has influenced me and what has inspired me, and how would that help to inspire others?
Yeah.
So, you know, Rooney and I've said this before, but it took us 9 months to get all the cards designed, but in reality, it's taken 20.
It was years in the making. Yeah. It's, but actually, there's cards that didn't make the original cut that can come in at a different time because they will feel right at a different time, or they weren't of when we were creating them as well. So I think that's the exciting bit about taking what you've learned in some other area of life and bringing it back at the right time. And the last 12 months was just filled with possibility. I mean, I've always said that what I do here at Merchants of Fun in the retail store was always just taking little bits of, I worked in retail here, I've done this, I've seen this in a learning facility, trying to bring it all together and mash it in some place where kids could actually come and get hands-on. Yeah. And there's other stores where they've been able to get hands-on before, but actually just to design a retail concept store for kids, by the biggest kid possible, it was just a lot of fun and continues to be a lot of fun. and you don't even know it yourself, but you've locked stuff away that comes out at the right time when you need it. And as you say, Sally, it could just be that little tiny action that you make that has a massive impact for someone else, and you don't even realize it at that point in time. Yeah. It's the people who I always think, and especially this week that we're in, which is Mental Health Awareness Week, and I've seen so many things online where people are starting to feel comfortable to talk about they need somebody to talk to, or they need somebody just to say hello, which is brilliant because they're talking about it. And you just think, well, it's those people who normally don't talk are the people that you could have the biggest impact on. But actually now they're starting to feel much more comfortable to tell their story, to be who they need to be, and actually to find their tribe around them. And Scott and I talk about this all the time, about it takes a village. It takes a village in everything. You know, it takes a village just to make sure that this level of human connection that we're all on continues to flourish. So, and it's a great time to be alive. And I know that sounds a bit deep for a Friday, but I just love seeing all of the things that go online now, and Sally and go with that, you know.
And I think it's where you focus, because, you know, there's a lot of things that have not been great about this time. But I think if you try and focus on the positives and, you know, what has come out of it, there'll be loads of things that we take forward that'll be so useful to us in terms of the way that we interact, you know, the way that we connect, the way that we work. Absolutely. And just as you were talking, I was thinking about the cards. One of the things when I was looking through them that sort of really struck me was, because you're right, talking is so important. But again, you know, for me, it's not a problem. But for a lot of people, it is a problem to open up and start to talk about stuff. But your cards, I can imagine in a context of getting people to open up and share, or even talk about somebody else. Like, sometimes that just doesn't happen easily. People don't give feedback or don't give recognition or struggle to know how to start a conversation about something. And your cards seem to me a great way of just allowing some of that to happen. And then obviously that can lead in all kinds of places as well. So I really like them as definitely as a conversation starter or as a way of giving recognition or feedback.
That was the seed of what it began with, is how could you share your learning? How could you share more conversations with people to enable things to take place? To be honest with you, I didn't start in the space with about kind of mindset and mental health, but given my kind of mental health awareness week, that when you look at the themes of a lot of the cards, there is that quite underpinning principle in a lot of the cards that are there, particularly the enable set, actually the orange set. Pretty much every one of the cards in there are about enabling people and helping them, you know, to be present for them and helping them to find their focus and really recognizing people's value and contribution. I mean, that's the idea of the enable cards. And when I was doing this last week, actually, from my own Instagram account, I was looking through the 9 enable cards and looking at which ones fit best into kind of this week's activity. And I thought, do you know, every one of them does actually in that one particular theme, because it's focused on, you know, recognizing that somebody's great, finding somebody's superpower, recognizing rainbow in others. So they're all about recognizing that value and contribution that people make to you as well.
I think even, as you say, Sally, that there has been a lot of negative, and that permeates still, and it's still there. And one of the things that we really wanted to achieve with the QR was, and how I saw it in my head was, someone on a train journey or a flight or a bus, and they maybe don't feel comfortable having conversations, or they don't have someone to talk to. But actually, with the QR, by scanning it and having access to those videos with a set of headphones, it allows them to be transported into not someone preaching to them, not somebody telling them how to do it. It was just, here's some life experience, here's a life I've lived, or here's an experience I've lived, or here's what I've learned from this. And it was just then to give them that little bit of comfort. So there's times that Scott and I have called it a therapist in your pocket, a coach in your pocket, whatever you need the cards to be, they're there for you.
Absolutely. Get what I have to say. I think it's really positive.
I'm going to ask you a wee question, Sally, if you don't mind. I loved one of your posts the other day, right? I'm going to read this. I loved it. Hello, I'm the movement fairy. I just sprinkled motivation dust. Now go and move your ass. This shit is expensive. Where do you get your inspiration for your post? Because I think this is an interesting thing for anyone that's interested in design or social media or where you go, that when I sit and think about what am I going to post today and what am I going to put out and what's the theme and what I get a bit muddled sometimes, and I sit and have a laugh at myself, or I sit and play around with some things and I score something out. I've actually got like a banana book that I keep my craziest stuff in. I'm like that guy in Elf when I'm sitting with the best ideas and sitting working out what ideas I'm going to pitch and do. But I'm never quite sure how to get the tempo of the room, like, if you like, in terms of when you're trying to do stuff. So where do you get your ideas and your insight from of what you're going to post?
Well, I absolutely love a quote, Scott. So I've got like folders and, you know, things that I've collected over the years of things that I've seen that have made me laugh that I really like. I think, like I said in the intro, some of my stuff is meant to be, you know, thought-provoking or, you know, more gentle in terms of the tone. And then other stuff, there's one about an ocean and a puddle. There's some that are meant to be a bit pokey and to make you laugh. And I think that's my personality. You know, sometimes I can be gentle, sometimes I can poke a bit, all with the best of intention. Sometimes I can use humor. And I think probably it's a mixture of everything, things that I've seen in the past, things that have made me laugh, a collection of things. And I think also because it's not my job, it's just something that I like to do, I think it's given me a bit of a freedom. I think if it was like my business, I'd probably overthink it or overworry. Does that sound right? Will that offend somebody? Because some of them, like I say, some of my ones can be quite pokey or can use swear words. But I think because it's in the context of this is me, my personality, this is who I am, and it comes from a best intent, I just trust that, you know, kind of works. And like I say, you know, particularly sometimes when I swear, you know, when I've sworn in something or I've been a bit pokey, those are usually the ones that get like a funny response or people share it again. So there must be something in that people like those kind of, you know,
it feels more genuine. Yeah.
You know, elements as well. And then, you know, like I say, others are more gentle. You know, my sister, I have to say, I can't take any credit for the look of this because I tend to do it on a Saturday or Sunday. I'll think, you know, what's topical, or, you know, like Mental Health Awareness Week, or is there something going on, or is, you know, something struck me, and I'll sort of doodle what I'll probably do, you know, the next week. And then my sister is the creative, so she loves that side. So I'll send her the words, and then she'll put, you know, put it together in a picture or use colours or whatever she does. She's absolutely brilliant. Usually then I'm like, no, I don't like that, or you need to change that or make that brighter. She's like, thanks. This is only meant to be a bit fun. But yeah, so we do it between us. But I'm sort of, you know, and then she'll say, oh, so you're in a feisty mood this week then, you know, with some of the quotes that come through. Yeah. But yeah, and I think, I don't know, hopefully people that, you know, look at them like the variety and, you know, like the different tones. And hopefully that, you know, works for some people and, you know, gives them a laugh or thinks, yeah, okay, maybe I do need to get moving. Right, what am I going to do this week?
There's a nice palette to them as well in terms of the colour of what you're using. Noticeable when you look through that. It's not brash, it's that soft pastel-like appearance that I think.
Well, I probably would be more brash, Scott, but my sister's like, no, you're not having that.
Well, talking of brash quotes, one of my favourite quotes that always makes me chuckle is, before you get stressed and anxious, just make sure you're not just surrounded by assholes. I like that one.
Brilliant.
My favourite. I call it quite regularly. So, listen, we gave you a little set of digital cards to have a wee browse through in the interests of the postal service, not be the quickest to get a physical set to you. So, did you manage to pick out a card that you wanted to choose and someone that you want to think about? Now, at this point, I should have had a better poker face on last week, because when James said, and I'm going to nominate Sally Bryce, I went, Sally Bryce, just I went, shit, I know Sally Bryce and I've really forgotten her name now.
I was like, how rude.
So regardless of who you say here, I'm just going to go, oh yeah, her.
I was going to say, actually, I don't think you will know her, but right, you never know. You never know.
I'll listen to yourself.
Just going to pretend anyway.
Yeah.
Right.
Okay.
So what was the card first of all? Which card did you choose?
So the card I picked was Superpower.
Nice.
Love it.
Right.
And the person I picked, I think, is just an incredible human being. Her name is Claire Wakefield.
Claire! Claire Wakefield. Claire, where she live again?
Tittenson.
That's it. Yeah.
That well-known place.
No, exactly. Yeah, it's just around the corner from the other place that's close by.
Trentham.
Trentham. Oh, I know Trentham. That's near Stoke.
It is.
Yeah, to where the monkey forest is.
Yes. Oh, actually, she's not too far from there. So.
Oh,
there we go. He got there.
I used to stay in the hotel there, right next to Frankie and Benny's, quite regularly.
Right. Okay. Is that the Premier Inn or something like that?
Premier Inn, yeah, all the glamorous places I used to stay, or the Holiday Inn that was just around the corner from Trentham.
Yes. Yeah. So that area, she's around there.
I've met her in Trentham Gardens a bundle of times.
Probably. So I picked Superpower because Claire was diagnosed with MS a few years ago, and she probably wouldn't describe herself as inspirational, but I think she is. And I think her superpower is her ability to sort of, her positive mindset, and just the way that she's tackled the last few years. She's really invested in herself. She's really invested in her learning. She's really invested in her diet. She's done things like counselling and alternative therapy. And she just seems to use what's happened to her as an experience to get better and better, and also help other people. And I think, you know, it could be very easy in those circumstances to get into a negative place. And that's just not Claire. And whenever you see her, she's always got a beaming smile. She's just a lovely, lovely human being. I'm so chuffed she's one of my closest friends. But yeah, she's lovely to be around. And I think you'll have a really lovely conversation with her.
It's lovely. I'm delighted to
lovely chat. Pass on. Yeah.
I can't wait to have a conversation with her again, because we've met before.
I think that's actually the first time we've had Superpowered as well on High Five.
Yeah.
So really look forward to that.
Do you know what's interesting? It's the most popular card when people do stories. So the way,
Oh, wow.
the way that we record stories is we invite people to record a video for the set, and we ask them to choose the card that speaks to them most. And I think total 6 videos on that one card at the moment. All very different, with people that are talking about superpowers. We've got like Osman Sharif talking about how superpowers are, you know, different strengths that people have, and how people have very different ones each. You know, there's a lovely story on there from Rob Woolen. He's talking about how he discovered his own and he didn't quite appreciate it during. He told a lovely story about when he got COVID, he realised he had these kind of super genetics, if you like, that meant he had the antibodies that could be donated as part of blood transfusions and things as well. We didn't know. And all these different things he discovered about himself through a experience that we've had in the last year. Joanna, I mentioned earlier on, does a little story on it, talking about her Be the Ripple movement. And it's interesting how that card does so many different things. And
I think for me as well, it's for me, it's around strength, but it's someone's superpower and they don't even realise that it's a strength or anything like unique or different. And I think, you know, when you speak to Claire, you know, she, you know, doesn't see how powerful some of, you know, what she does or how she behaves or the way that her outlook on life. And I think when it's that natural, it's sometimes you can underestimate it in yourself.
Brilliant. And we can reminisce about the monkey forest as well.
Yes, I'm sure she'll love that. Brilliant.
Okay. Thank you very much, Sally.
Not a problem.
High five with a little treat. Last week you saw me dressing up for James. I'm not going to put my cycling gear on today.
Damn it!
I'm going to give you an option A or an option B.
Oh, okay.
So option A is a challenge, and option B is a gift.
As a gift.
Yeah. Would you like option A or would you like option B?
Oh no. I'm going to go with option A, a challenge.
Challenge. Okay. A challenge. I've got a packet of love hearts on my table. Yeah. I'm not going to send you the one that's been in my office for about 6 months, but I'm going to buy you a new set of love hearts. and I'm going to post them down to you. I'd like you to see what these love hearts inspire in your Instagram posts over the course of the next few weeks. If there's any words or any language or any sentiments that are contained within them that might inspire some of your posts. And I'd love you to tell us about what these love hearts have inspired in your
I like that
craft and what you create. Love hearts have changed quite a bit since I was a kid as well. So
I don't know when I last had them. What kind of other, you know, are the messages moved on? I don't know.
Let's open up the first one. The first one's I want you. Maybe don't put that out in your post.
I don't know.
How long have they been in your office?
That might be one of your more provocative ones.
I want you, okay.
There's one that says, I'm shy. Cheer up, be happy. There you go. There's lots of different things. So
I like that. It's a really good idea.
Inspiring. I won't just send you love hearts. We'll send you something.
We'll send you a gift as well. Yeah.
We'll send you.
Oh, fab idea. I really love that. Thank you. Yeah.
And just one last thing. How can we, or how can anyone watching this rather follow you on Instagram, just so they know how to discover you?
So yeah, I'm just at Sally Inspo on Instagram. As simple as that. And if you want a bit of inspiration or a kick up the bum or a bit of a giggle, hopefully there'll be something in there for you.
Love heart infused.
Yes. Yeah. Okay.
Brilliant. High five, Sally. Thank you a million. Take care.
Sally. Brilliant.
Bye.
Lovely. Thank you, guys. Really nice to talk to you both.
Yeah, it's a pleasure.
Me too.